Should you buy travel insurance? That's the question. The real goal is not to just have, oh, I got travel insurance coverage. The real goal is to know what the heck you have for travel insurance coverage, no matter where you're getting it from. We were stranded in Athens, Greece for 11 days, not because we wanted to be, because our cruise ship actually canceled. And here is the truth about travel insurance. We were stranded in Athens for 11 days after our cruise was canceled, and suddenly travel insurance went from being one of those maybe we should buy it purchases at the time of booking to something that really mattered. You know, when you purchase your cruise right at the beginning, they'll say, hey, do you want travel insurance? And you're like, geez, I don't know. Do I really want this? Well, this may be for you, or may not be for you after you get done with this video. What most travelers don't realize is that not all coverage is the same. Not all claims are easy, and the easiest part of travel protection is buying it. Getting reimbursed can be the hard part. We're going to get into all the details of travel insurance with our own real-life experiences and the claims that we filed with travel insurance companies, both the credit card and standalone travel insurance policies. We've now had 2 different claims reimbursed 100%, and today we want to tell you what we learned before you buy it blindly. Travel protection gets offered almost everywhere now, and airline travel insurance is one option travelers often see during the booking process. It usually focuses on problems tied directly to your flight, like trip cancellation if you have to cancel for a covered reason, trip delay if you get stuck for hours and need meals or a hotel, missed connections, baggage loss or damage, baggage delay. Cruise line travel insurance is usually tied to the cruise itself, but it often includes some of the standard protections people expect too, like trip cancellation, trip interruption, medical emergencies, and evacuation. Some plans also offer compensation if the ship becomes disabled and you're stuck on board without essential services like power, water, or food for a certain period of time. If the ship has to skip a port because of weather or mechanical issues, there may also be compensation for missed ports. One of the biggest things to pay attention to on a cruise is medical coverage, because onboard medical care is usually not covered the same way it would be at home, so cruise insurance may look similar to other travel insurance at first, but some of the most important benefits are the ones built specifically around the risks of being out at sea. So there's all kinds of insurance out there, and the important thing is make sure you don't go into it blindly. So let's break down these different types of insurance. Now, when you're booking a cruise, it sounds pretty convenient, right? Hey, would you like travel insurance? Yeah, why not? Boom, and it costs X amount of money. My experience is it's usually a little more expensive than standalone travel insurance, but no biggie. What you really need to find out is who handles the claim. You or the cruise line. Travel credit cards. The interesting thing here is there's a lot of people out there that have credit cards, and they actually may have travel protections attached to those credit cards. Now, we happen to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve travel card. That card works well for us. It gives us additional protections. You may want to look at that. Most credit card companies do offer travel protections, so check that out. And then finally, buying travel insurance from a standalone travel company. That might make sense for you, but you need to read the fine print in all of these different options that are out there. The fine print, or the devil in the details, that's where you need to look. Because who actually handles the claim? When you book a cruise and oh yeah, the cruise line, if the cruise gets disrupted or canceled, oh, give me my money back and they'll take care of all my expenses. Not so fast. Not all claims are covered by the company that you purchased the insurance from. So let's say you were traveling with a cruise line and you purchased their travel insurance, and it's time to file a claim. And you call the cruise line up and they say, no, not with us. You got to go to this insurance company and here's the information, and you got to file your claim directly with them. That seems to be most of the common way when you go to file a claim with any company. Now, there's chances that the company you purchased the insurance from, the actual travel company like the cruise ship or an airline or a hotel, they may deal with the claim directly, but more than likely, you're dealing with the claim. So make sure you look at the devil in the details, because that fine print is going to be very important, because I believe a lot of people purchase the travel insurance through the cruise ship, and when it's time to file a claim, they call up the cruise line and say, hey, I need to get my money back. I need to get reimbursed. And they say, no, you got to go call the insurance company that we sold to you. So look at the details. And that brings us to our two real-life situations. We filed two separate claims at years apart. The first claim was through our credit card, our Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card. It does offer travel protections, and we exercise that. And then we also filed a claim through our Standalone travel insurance company, Allianz. We're going to get into those two and how did that break out for us. This is a real live situation that we want to share with you. Now, if you're liking this video and you like what the content is, please give it a thumbs up. Leave comments down below. It really helps the channel. And if you really like it, hit that subscribe button. So let's move forward to these two insurance claims that we filed. We're going to start with the first one, which was the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card. So this is, I'm telling you, it's a real life experience. We were sailing in Iceland, and the day before, it was hours before. It was really like 8 hours. We were like, because it never got dark. It was always light there at the time we were traveling there. And we're like, oh, the weather looks great. Everything looks awesome. Because we always tell our viewers that, hey, when you're booking an excursion, make sure it's refundable. And guess what? In this particular situation, we ignored that. By accident, of course, because we were all juiced up and jacked up about, oh man, we're going to get to the Blue Lagoon in Reykjavik. I think I said it right. Reykjavik, Iceland. And we're gonna do this because the weather's nice. It's only 8 hours away. Because it was late, it never gets dark at the time we were there. And we were like, let's book it. We booked it. No more than 5, 6 hours later, the captain comes across the intercom. We are not going to Reykjavik. The weather has turned on us and we're canceling that port. Oh my God, now what? So we start scrambling. We get to the Blue Lagoon via email and via WhatsApp. We're not giving you your money back. I said, hey, we just booked it hours ago. Why aren't you giving us our money back? Hey, you booked it and that's our policy. We're not giving you a refund. And we were like, oh man. So at that point, we got all of our receipts. We had to get, there's so much information you have to get. And we have to file the claim ourselves. We got the cancellation from the cruise line. We got our receipts from the excursion. I think we actually had some photos and images as well. So we went to the credit card, went online, and filed a claim. Now that claim process was quite grueling, to be honest with you. We submitted all the information. And then over a period of time, it kind of went quiet. So then I reached out. I said, hey, what's going on with the claim? Oh, we need this information, that information, this information. I'm like, okay. I give them all that information. It kind of goes quiet again. Not hearing anything about a check in the mail. So then all of a sudden, I call them again and I say, hey, I'm just checking on this claim. What's going on? Oh, we need this, 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 and this. Now, they're not reaching out to me, asking me for all this stuff. But every time I call, oh, we need this, this, and this. And I was like, I got to the point where I was feeling like they were just waiting for me to get tired and just forget about the claim. I really felt that way. But I kept, every time I call, I give them the same stuff that they requested the last time I called. It took about 2 months, almost 3 months. We did get paid. We got 100% of our money back. But let me tell you, that claim process, it was grueling. You know, depending on where you bought your insurance, thinking that, oh, someone else is going to take care of the claim. In this particular case, I was responsible for filing the claim, and I did. And I was responsible for following up on that claim, and I did. And I did get our 100% reimbursement. And that was a grueling process, but it worked out well. Now, the card itself, it's expensive. It's not cheap. And there's times that I'm like, geez, honey, every year. It's always every year. Honey, do we really want to keep this card? And then we look at the expense and we look at what it offers and we say, all right, we'll try it one more year. And it's been now 4 years, we still have it. It's expensive. It's getting more and more expensive. When we first got it, it wasn't that bad. There's other cards that may be less expensive, the annual fee, of course. But all of these different cards, I mean, you can even Google it. Go look for travel credit cards. What makes sense? What kind of points are you getting from them? What kind of protections are you getting from them? What kind of benefits are they offering? And they all offer an array of benefits and travel protections and advantages. All right, let's talk about another real life experience. However, this time we used Allianz. Allianz is our standalone travel insurance that we purchase by trip. Now, there's a reason why we purchase it by trip, and I'll get into that in a second. Because what I want to talk about is that we used to buy Allianz annual policy. And that worked out awesome because you were protected for the whole year. Airlines, car, medevac, you name it. It's like a complete umbrella in regards to all travel. Worked out great. But when you read the fine print, it basically said that you can only be away from home 3 months at a time. If you exceed that 3 months by 1 day, they can actually deny your claim. So in that policy, that annual standalone travel insurance policy, if you're traveling, you leave on January, you come back in February, the end of February, you're great, you're covered. And you can do that multiple times throughout the year. But if you surpass that 3 month period from being back home, they can deny your claim. So let's go back to where we are with the 11 days in Athens. In that particular case, we didn't have that annual policy. We purchased what you call a single trip policy. Now that single trip policy that we purchased was for 8 months because we were away from home for 8 months. We filed a claim, and again, we're responsible for the claim filing. We don't just call them up and everything's taken care of. Hey, we had a problem. Can we get our money? No. It's not that easy when you're dealing with travel insurance disruptions. You need to provide proof that there was a disruption. You need to provide proof why. You need to provide proof of your expenses. There's a rigmarole that you really have to go through when filing a claim. And again, you're doing this all on your own. We compiled all the information. It took a little time. It was grueling, just like the Chase Sapphire card. But the other back end of it was a little bit easier with the standalone travel insurance company. When we submitted everything, we waited 2 weeks and we got a response. Hey, some questions about this or that. Can you break it down so it's a little bit easier for us to understand? Yeah, no problem. Boom, boom, boom. Put it in an Excel spreadsheet, sent it to them 2-3 days later, approved. That whole process took about 3 to 4 weeks. And we were approved, and they're sending us full reimbursement for our 11 days stuck in Greece, Athens, Greece, paying for our hotel, paying for our food, paying for our travel expenses to our flight changes, all fell within that standalone travel insurance policy. So you can see that we use 2 different policies when we travel. We use the credit card and we use the standalone. And they kind of balance out depending on the situation that we're dealing with. The biggest lesson here is really saving your receipts, making sure you get confirmation of the cancellation, why it was canceled, and it needs to have letterhead on it. It can't be just a typed letter. It needs to have letterhead. It needs to be official when you submit these claims to your travel insurance standalone company or your travel credit card company or anywhere. You need to show proof that there was in fact a disruption. And that's a lesson learned out of this. Why did we purchase a standalone policy? Like I said in the beginning, when we originally started traveling, we would travel 3 months at a time and get back home. And the main reason we purchased that particular annual policy, it was affordable. It was cheaper than buying travel insurance for every cruise through the cruise line. It was cheaper than buying rental insurance. It was cheaper than buying airline. That policy covers pretty much all of that stuff So it made sense to us, and we weren't away from home more than 3 months at a time. So it was a good policy for us, and it was affordable. So that made sense for us. And to this day, if I travel the way that I used to travel, I would have that policy again. Even though we had that policy early on, the policy we have now is single trip. Now, when you're dealing with a single trip policy, they want to know how much does it cost, your actual trip. How much of the airlines, how much of the cruise, how much is the big items. They want to know that cost. And then they want to know how long you're going to be away. And they also want to know, where will you be visiting? There's a reason for that. Depending on where you're visiting, the risk factor may increase significantly, driving the cost of your travel insurance premium higher. And at the end of the day, a single travel policy typically is way more expensive than the annual policy. So, should you buy travel insurance? That's the question. And we would recommend yes if you're traveling. But some people, it may not be for you, and that's cool. Just always be prepared in case there's a loss. We hope that this helped you look at travel insurance a little differently, maybe seeing some different options. Now, like I said, if you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. We answer all our questions and comments. And if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button because it really helps our channel. Thank you for watching. And you know, with us, anything can happen. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Wherever we go, there's always something crazy. And this is where I say, ciao for now. Thanks for watching, but there's more to explore.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button
so you never miss any adventures.
Click on one of these videos to keep the journey going.
And this is where I say, ciao for now.
We'll see you soon.